And we're back. With some Adeptus Mechanicus is the plan. Now, this is the first time I'm playing them on recording, and it's also been quite a bit since I have played a Mechanicus campaign. So, gonna look over the abilities and the things that make the Mechanicus unique real quick. The canticles of the Omnissiah, which are chanting Mechanicus hymns to enhance units, increasing in power with every praying warrior. I believe that is a ability you spend influence in the top left corner for buffs to all of your units on the field. Similar to the kind of situation that, for instance, the Space Marines have. Though the cost, I want to say, goes up with every unit. Doctrina Imperatives. Oh, there we go. That's what it is. For Scutari units only. Or is it Scutari? I'm going to stick with Scutari. For Scutari units, yes, spend influence for buffs. I don't remember what the canticles of the Omnissiah are, then. Hive cities, place more buildings per tile. Monolithic buildings, increased output of buildings of the same type on a tile, decreased output of buildings of differing types on a tile. Power surge, increased the output of buildings on a tile through forceful intensity. Increased research cost. Capture enemy Castellan robots with cybernetica datasmiths. Adeptus Mechanicus units have high damage resistance. And Adeptus Mechanicus upgrades increase building output with each adjacent building. There we go. Alright. So, we are going with the Adeptus Mechanicus on a standard size map with 3 AIs of average difficulty, as has been typical for me. As well as I am going to be running the Engine Seer difficulty, which is the standard difficulty. And so, let's get rolling. I'll talk about the Mechanicus more once we get in there.
Gladius Prime. Adeptus Mechanicus first. What hive world was not? Its cities, its satellites, its wastes, all created with Mars's wisdom. All answering only to the tech priests. That is, to you, Magos. It was little work to hide your research into the Tyranids here, deep beneath the ashen wastes. Disastrous though it was. But you have followed the Omnissiah's plans. And now is the time to finally execute on them.
Cool shot. Alright, so, let's see. This is not a great start position. Let's go ahead and send our units around, see if there's any better settlement positions nearby. Oh, that's Fruit Hounds. Not great. But the Scutari, because they have radiation on their attacks, do more damage to infantry and monsters. So, and we also have invulnerable damage reduction. And, right, rad saturation. We cause radioactive damage to all nearby enemy units. There we go. Now, I am far from an expert on Mechanicus lore. Of all lores in particular, the Mechanicus lore is one that I am not so good with. Because Mechanicus as an army was not really a thing in my time as a Warhammer fan. Let's see. Yeah, we kind of got this. Yeah, I don't know entirely what the story is with the Scutari, but I can read down here. Yeah, they're radioactive, they're combatants. Now, for settlement-wise, we've got this kind of noodly thin continent here we're working on. It would probably be smart to put ourselves right here. And then, why do I get to see there through the... Whatever. Settle a city right here. And it will be right next to... It will be in a good vicinity. Able to take both a research and a power tile. Once we get the power tile up and going, once we get the Prometheum relay pipes, we will be getting a lot of energy out of this city in particular. Now let's see here. first thing we're going to go for is we are going to go for, let's see, we're putting out a decent amount of all resources, but we're going to want more Skitarii. Skitarii, while I am not an expert, do seem like a really good early game unit. So I'm going to be putting out one of these babies. A Genitor Corporatium. Pradium. Ah, my Latin is pretty lacking. A food, an ore, 2 influence, and more importantly... Wait, hang on. That is an infantry building. Yes, it is. Okay. That's very good output for a building that builds units. So we might want to stack more of those on top of one another. Which it will be putting out reduced output because of the way the monolithic buildings mechanic. Okay. Interesting. So, if I ever get around to building a second Genitor Caprodium, I will be wanting to put it on that tile. It says does not affect non-headquarters... Does not affect headquarters buildings. Now, the Forge Temple counts as a headquarters, but the Artisan Constructorum does not. So that is going to be a question. Once this building is finished, is the production speed of the Artisan Constructorum go down? Is it going to go down? I'll check that later, if I remember to. I'll probably forget. Now, let's see here. These units, if memory serves, are all pretty good. Skitarii Rangers, I remember being fantastic. Skitarii Marshals, that's a hero. Probably going to want to go for that. And I want to say he is produced from the infantry building that we are working on right now. Now, I want to say that Skitarii are still produced by food rather than minerals. Though these are Savannah tiles, so we're actually going to have fairly good access to food. So an infantry playstyle may be a bit more viable than I'm used to in Gladius. These desert tiles would indicate more of a focus on minerals, so vehicles are definitely something else that we should look into. We can spend influence to get the Bulwark Imperative, pass on that. Data Tether, that increases morale of Skitarii Vanguards and Rangers. We can go for the Manufactorum Cybernetica, which is the vehicle building. And we can get Thermo Exchange Efficiency, increases the bonus output of Power Surge, which I believe is the ability that we spend influence. Yes, we spend 20 influence to increase all non-production output by 25% and increase production output by 12%. If memory serves, that is a really useful ability in the early game, though understandably it declines somewhat in the late game when you've built wider cities. Now, that one is a good ability to go for this early in the game. At the same time, the Manufactorum Cybernetica is calling my name. This is a difficult question. Now, I forget. What is the first vehicle you get out of the Manufactorum Cybernetica? I suppose it'd probably be best for me to just go ahead and get it. I'm going to have to get 2 techs out of this tier. So, I may go for that and the Thermo Exchange Efficiency. We're probably going to want to go nuts with the research here so we can get all the way to, let's see... Icons of the Omnissiah, if memory serves, is really good. And so is Terran Generalism, and Blessed Conduits also seems pretty good. So, the Mechanicus is one race that I'm going to want to rush through the research tree. Gonna take a bit of damage from those Kroot Hounds. Not as much as I was expecting, honestly. Kroot Hounds tend to wreck a lot of infantry units a lot of times, as long as they aren't heavily armored themselves. But this isn't so bad. Let's see, can we get in there and do quite a bit of damage to the Kroot Hounds? We can. So, let's go ahead and get these guys wiped out, and then we can go through and nice, clean, pick up the resources I desire. Ah, the early game. The vital choices that dictate how the rest of the game goes. We don't want to get too crazy, pushing out too far just yet, because losing these early Skitarii could be very damaging to our efforts. At the same time, we don't want to waste time. Okay, we got Vespid. Vespid are a bad one to run into this early in the game for the Mechanicus. As the Space Marines, the Mechanicus, the Necrons, the Chaos Marines, the Vespids are a bad barbarian to run into because they've got pretty good armor piercing. I am tempted to try and steal this Grox Pasture, though. I'm going to try it. They'll take it back, but an extra 2 food this early in the game is pretty nice. Ah, that's what I was afraid of. We're going to get hit a lot by the Vespids here. Gonna have to definitely do some running away. We'll see if the Vespids chase us all the way back, but this could be pretty devastating. This might have been a big, big mistake. But I want to play bold. Playing too conservative as the Eldar last game was a big part of what went wrong for me. Let's push these Skitarii up. Maybe they can cover the other Skitarii's retreat a little bit. The Vespids are probably going to pursue. Yes, they will. Okay. And we are going to take a lot of damage here. We might lose the Skitarii. I think we're going to lose the Skitarii. Oh, can we make it to the city? Can we make it to the city? Oh, this is bad. Hang on. We might be able to protect the Skitarii with this other Skitarii. We'll see. This guy should exude enough zone of control to keep them from moving in. Okay. Helican has gotten their Genitor Caprodium up. Cataprodium, so I will get to work on another set of Skitarii Vanguards. Vanguards? What am I saying? We will expand outwards. We are going to need energy, research, influence. Research is too tempting to not go with sooner rather than later. Let's see, especially as the Mechanicus, because we can stack so many research buildings in one city and we will be done with research. Especially since we spawn next to this Ruins of Vol. We will also go for Thermo Exchange Efficiency. So, there you go. Uh-oh. Yeah, there we go. That Skitarii's gone. That's unfortunate. Ah, that sucks. Maybe it'll live? No, it won't. Okay. Alright, that sucks. I guess we're going to replace it pretty soon, but that's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Vespids are a bad one to run into early on as the Mechanicus. Against a lot of other barbarian types as the Mechanicus, you get the luxury of armor, but Vespids more or less ignore a lot of armor a lot of the time, so we don't get that luxury. This is unfortunate. The Grox Pasture is going to be taken right back off our hands, so we just wasted a Skitarii for nothing. I mean, there is no way to play this game perfectly, which is a part of what makes the game interesting, by all means. But that feels pretty bad to make as a mistake. Let's see. Alright, we are ready to put in another research building right there, and we will end the turn. For a bit. Okay, these Skitarii Vanguards are healthy again. We can send them out to reclaim the Promethium relay pipes. And they will soon be joined by these Skitarii. So we will push them out and reclaim those relay pipes. Now here in Helican, we will go ahead and get to work on another unit of Skitarii. 1.5 food, that's not so bad. We're going to have to pay for it later, but we'll deal with that when we get there. Xenorite Acceptance. That is probably going to be quite good because we do have a research outpost right there. At the same time, Subcloister, if memory serves, is a really good building. Habfane is a necessity. We may want to stop for a little bit longer on that particular part of the research tree. Now, let's see. I actually wanted to remember, right, I wanted to look at what do the heroes look like for the Adeptus Mechanicus. Because the Datasmith is not a hero, nor is the Fulgurite Electro Priest, I don't believe. The hero types that you get should be the Manipulus, who gives, let's see, increased health, increased armor penetration, increased action points of movement, yada yada, bunch of spells. Research from kills, that's quite good. We're going to want to rush to him sooner rather than later. But we also want the Dominus, who gives a incredible 12 influence and 12 research just by existing. Fantastic. And let's see, the Skitarii Marshal we also want to look into. He can get a lot of buffs for nearby units. We should probably go backwards and research him just a little bit. Ignoring heroes has been my problem in a lot of games, and I keep making that same mistake over and over again. I want to try somewhat early heroes for once here. Which, let's see, how are we doing for resources? We're going to have to make more energy soon. But another research building could be a big game changer, so I'm going to go for that. Now, let's see. We're going to push ahead a little bit slowly here. We don't want the Vespids to get the drop on us, because they dealt so much damage to us the last time they got the drop on us. Yeah, we're going to push in very, very slowly here. As a matter of fact, we're going to tell the units to just stand there, just in case the Vespids make a move. This is the game with barbarians. You often gotta push in very slowly. Okay, and I get to choose my research. I'll be going for the sub-cloister, I suppose. That gets us to the Manipulus sooner rather than later. I do want to see the Manipulus. Let's see. The Manipulus is the support abilities and neutralizing effects. Whereas the Dominus is the tech priest that fights a lot. If memory serves, the Manipulus is really good. Okay, can we get Overwatch on these Vespids? Can we at the very least... Okay, we can at the very least get them to back off of the Grox pasture. We're going to have to give it a little bit of time. If we get rid of this webway gate... The webway gate right now is kind of being used almost like cover by the Vespids, where it prevents us from putting a full force of 2. Since we have a... Since the Skitarii only have a range of 1, we can't really set up a effective gun line here for any approaching Vespids, because the Vespids can use the webway gate to separate the Skitarii, which is a weakness that would not be the case for, say, Guardsmen or Space Marines who have a range of 2 on their weapons. Now, let's see. Helican has put in a research building and has also produced a Skitarii. Let's get another Skitarii out. I'm going to go into food debt. I virtually never go into food debt in this game. This is going to be very strange territory for me, while I'm also going to get to work on an energy economy. Okay, we get Overwatch on one of the Vespids. Excellent. If we can just wear them down quite a bit and fully claim this territory as our own, that'd be great. Landmass-wise, this is a very strangely structured map, I must say. Now, let's go ahead and have you pull back a little bit. You'll push on ahead, because you have a little bit more health, and we'll have these guys defend for a minute. This is very strangely shaped. It's almost like, not sure what it is. It's very peninsular, which is not what I'm used to in terms of Gladius map generation. We do have another Promethium relay pipe down there. I need to claim that. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and we'll pull you up a little bit and have you sit and wait just in case someone attacks you. Same for this guy. Now, the city of Helican, we will put in a power building right there. And for our next bit of research, we will choose a tech priest Manipulus. We want to get a sub-cloister out and get it researching. Oh my god. Okay, for a second I thought that Vespid was going to deploy between all 3 of my Skitarii, and that would have been hilarious. But unfortunately, no, it is making the choice the AI always makes of going for the wounded unit, which will not work out on this occasion. Let's see. So we will take these Skitarii back, and they will finish off that Vespid. With those Vespids out of the way, I will start working on tearing down the webway gate, because it annoys me, it displeases me, it's an eyesore, I want it gone. We're going to then move down, take out those cultists, and get that Promethium relay pipe. Let's see here. Go ahead and keep tearing down the webway gate, get it out of here. Helican is working on what it's working on. Power and Skitarii. Alright, we have Tech Priest Manipulus. So now what we're going to do is we're going to push in on these Chaos Cultists. And this 4th unit of Skitarii will keep moving up. Helican has got power put in, and they are generating a lot of it. We require food, so we will be expanding onto this river tile. We will go ahead and pay for another Skitarii Vanguard, because I want to take as many early tiles as I can, and claim all this land for myself. If we claim the land, it will pay for the military that we are investing in. Let's see, the Xenorite Acceptance. I do want that, so I'm going to spring for that. And then I will probably go for Protoservitor Core Adjacency Integration, and I'll move on. I did get Hab Thanes. I should look into increasing the population cap soon. After all, I don't want it to get out of control like it did in the Eldar playthrough. Now, let's see. You will go ahead and camp out here on this outpost until you are healed. Alright. And you will push on ahead a little bit. We have Genestealer Cultists. Excellent. That's a pretty tolerable type of barbarian, especially for the Mechanicus. Now, let's see. Xenorite Acceptance, right? These have a range of 2, so we'll hold off on charging right in. Alright, these servitors have fully healed up. They're ready to push on ahead. We can see outwards a little bit. I guess the cliff face is making where we can't see down, but we can see out. This guy, he will stand right here. You will heal. Pelican is putting in a food building, and then after that, we'll probably have to look into putting in a population cap building, which would probably be best to be put on this desert right here. Okay. We have got Xenorite acceptance, so we will look into adjacency integration. Once adjacency integration is up, we will probably be rather beastly in terms of research. Okay. The Jacaro encampment is ours. We will gladly take that. We did walk into the ambush, but our Skitarii are so heavily armored that it doesn't really matter. 6 armor, that's very good for such an early game unit. We will wrap the turn. There we go, okay. Now we can do a little bit of damage here. Oh, well, a lot of damage to these Genestealer cultists and get them wiped out in a single turn. That feels good. These Skitarii have finished healing, and we will keep pushing up on to the next continent. I have not actually finished exploring out towards the east here, but it looks like this is the boundaries of this landmass. There is a holy site for the Adeptus Sororitas. I could choose to tear that up if I wanted to, if I was just being funny. But it looks like I have a very nicely defended, held little peninsula here that the enemy infantry forces are going to have a very hard time invading this landmass. It pretty well has to be a naval or air invasion, because this is a very well-protected little landmass. There's not even really that many armies, if any, that have naval or air transportation. Adjacency integration, more research, excellent, love it, love to see it. Okay, let's take you back to get healed. Let's start tearing down this webway gate. The Space Marines can drop pod across continents, so they would be a pain to fight against for me. They would take away my geographical advantage. Alright, Helican, we can order another infantry unit, but I won't. Now we can choose our research again. The Castellan robot is very appealing, but no, I'm going to go for a Proto-Servitor Cradle, which will be used for loyalty later on, and then we will move on to Mavora forming, which we will be, and the Artisan Constructorum, which we will be using to expand into the next few tiles. Now, let's see. Let's go ahead and wipe out. Let's get this Shard of Vol, claim it. Okay, we got orcs. Okay, let's get rid of you, Mr. Webway Gate. There we go. And we will be taking this outpost and maybe pulling back a little bit. I don't know. Shard of Vol, that's +1 mineral and +1 energy. That's hard to pass up. So, we are currently locked in a little bit on this peninsula by the orcs, which is funny because the last time, the only other playthrough I put in much time with Mechanicus, I had a very similar situation where I was locked on a peninsula by a Tyrannid city. So, very funny that this keeps happening to me. Let's see. Food, energy, we are very good for. A population cap building is probably the next avenue to go down. Excuse me. Had ramen earlier and it's coming back up on me. But then every food comes back up on me because of genetic issues. What a pain it is. Alright, let's see. How close can we get to the city here without the orcs? Oh no, that's actually much worse than orcs. That's much worse. Okay, we are not going to be contesting this particular spot of land. They can probably have it, because I don't have that much armor piercing, at least not yet. That definitely means I need to look into armor piercing soon, though, and get the hero buildings online whenever possible. Which, let's see. Subcloister. That is pop caps, that is loyalty. I should look into making more of these. Okay. Now, let's see. I probably want to spend influence for Power Surge, so let's get more research up and going. Just to have something going with the Power Surge, otherwise I don't want to waste it. Let's see. I am putting out a good amount of food, so I should look into getting more Skitarii. I may need them to fight the Chaos Marines. Let's see. Proto-Servitor Cradle. Sadly, I don't have any tools in my arsenal right now that are good siege tools, however. You know, I was actually asking earlier about which races have access to transportation over the seas. I now remember that the whole gimmick of the Skitarii vehicles, for the most part, is that they've already built a second city. Huh. Nonetheless, how much damage would I do? Oh, not much. And I guarantee you we're going to take more in kind. Well, let's hang back here. Let's set everybody here to defend. Yeah, I'm very much landlocked here. This is bad. Okay. Let's see. We're going to need some serious heavy firepower to deal any damage to that city. I suspect we will be coming up on a pretty serious fight with the Chaos Marines soon. Let's see. Lucian specialization. Increases the resource output of non-headquarter buildings upon the same type of tile. Okay, these are a lot of good options here, but I'm going to go for the Artisan Constructorum. Nearly called it artisanal. I want to research artisanal cheese. Oh boy, that's exactly what I was afraid of seeing. Corn Berserkers. They're looking awfully yellow for a corn unit. Though then again, I guess corn has been in the past associated with a gold color scheme, though it's a little bit unusual for him. Let's see, I might be able to just throw sheer quantity of Skitarii at their walls, but that'd be a little bit wasteful, especially considering the distance. Now, if I wanted to build a second city, it would be good placement to put it here. It would get access to the Grox pasture, the Jacaro encampment, and the Prometheum relay pipes. So, let's see, okay, Helicon, I wanted to put in another subcloister. I wanted to put in a subcloister. We're going to need to hold off on that for just a turn, though. The subcloister will simultaneously give PopCap and Loyalty, both of which I need. You always need both of those resources. And it will produce the heroes and the tech priests I want. A Cybernetica Datasmith to get a second city rolling would also be a very smart idea. Alright, you are just going to camp out right there. Let's see. The next turn has rolled over. We can afford to put in a subcloister. And we will be doing just that. We will be wrapping up the turn. Once we get an Artisan Constructorum up and running, we'll probably want to put it in the town center of Helicon. Which I wonder... Yes, okay. So Helicon is losing a bit of production in the Artisan Constructorum because I put the Genitor Catapradium there with it. So it's taking away from that. Let's see. The Skitarii Vanguards, yeah, we'll just have you guys hang out here. So I'll want to put in the Artisan Constructorum on the same space that I have the pre-existing Artisan Constructorum and Genitor Catapradium. There we go. I thought there was a sound there before the Paradium. Let's see. We will be temporarily putting the Genitor Catapradium to sleep. It's unfortunate that this playthrough I've actually been pretty good about pushing forward and aggressively taking outposts. And this happens to be another game where I'm landlocked on a peninsula by a very intimidating early game threat. Let's see. Lucian specialization, Maphora forming, Soylent's acquisition teams. I'm just completely tongue-tied here. Let's see. Mavora forming does sound good to grab onto those outposts. So I might just go for that. At the same time, Lucian specialization is more money. And it's unlikely that I'm going to very soon be expanding onto those outposts. Okay, let's keep on pushing on ahead. The meat of our army. I'm curious how long it'll take before the Chaos Space Marines send out a unit that actually figures out. It always seems like it takes the AI a little bit to figure out when you've got an army camped outside of their city. So it may take him a little bit to figure that out. Not that these guys would be a huge threat, especially because they just don't have a healer, so a dedicated siege effort is a lot more difficult when you don't have a healer to cover for the amount of damage that your infantry takes. And your vehicles. Really everything, I guess. I could have a healer soon, though, because I believe the Manipulus is a healer. Let's have you camp out on this river part here. I'll leave this space open here for the Manipulus. Let's see. Helicon, we have put in a subcloister. Let's see. And I will order a Manipulus with a food upkeep of 3 and an influence upkeep of 6. That is a big, big cost, but if memory serves, he is really good. So we're going to shell out for him. And we are going to next shell out for... Let's start work. Let's hold off for another turn, and then the next turn we will be starting work on an Artisan Constructorum. Alright, we will start research on Soylent's acquisition teams to get more efficiency out of the food we are currently working on. Okay. Now in Helican, we are not ready to start work on an Artisan Constructorum. We will be next turn. Okay. So we will now start work on an Artisan Constructorum. There we go. 10 turns, that's quite a lot of waiting time, but that is what it is. That's the nature of the Artisan Constructorum. It's a commitment. And we're going to be sitting and waiting for a little bit. Sitting on our hands a little bit. We're going to actually be at a bit of a food deficit when the Manipulus comes out. That is unfortunate, but that is the way it is. Okay, the Mavoriforming, we'll go for that. After that, we might be smart to go ahead and look backwards here. Enhanced Data Tether, that's probably going to be quite good when we get the units into actual fights. Omnispecs allows them to ignore range damage reduction, that's quite nice. Litany of the Electromancer damages target enemy units, attacks and cost scale with the amount of Canticles of the Omnissiah units, up to 10. Okay, right, those are like faction-wide spells that get buffed by the amount of elite units you have. Right. Okay. Okay, and we are about to get a Manipulus out on the field. Excellent. Okay, you, sir, are only level 2. That means you can only take, what is it, 2 skill points? He has the Master of Machines, which is a very nice heal. So, other than that, we can also get Tech Adept. Is that not... Does he have 2 heal abilities? That must be just an upgrade to the existing heal ability. Galvanic Field and Stun. Let's go for Tech Adept and Galvanic Field, because we are going against Chaos Marines. We're going to need a lot of that. Okay, he has 2 heal abilities. One that heals 12 HP and one that heals 6. They both consume his action. They both have a cooldown of 1 turn and a range of 1 tile. But one heals more. I'm not sure what the difference is here. That's curious. Nonetheless, we've got a Manipulus out. That's a healer. We might be able to actually throw down with the Space Marines somewhat. We can also get to work on a Cybernetica Datasmith to start up a second city. That would be smart. That is going to cost us a lot of food for the moment, because he's going to cost quite a bit of food upkeep on his own. But we will deal with that later. Alright, we've got Mavoriforming. We can push on to the outposts soon. We will want to get some kind of influence and food income going before we do that, however. Okay, let's see. Triplex Necessity. That does sound quite good. Is there anything here we still want to hit? Not really. Are there any monstrously good techs we want to hit? We should probably grab the Dominus, and we should probably grab him soon, because he gives research for every unit that gets killed in his vicinity. So we'll go for that. He's going to cost a lot of influence, so we're not putting out a lot of influence right now, but at the very least, he'll still be useful. Manipulus will push on ahead to the core of my army down by the Chaos Marine base, and I believe it has probably been about an hour since this recording started. You know what, I'm going to keep going for a little bit anyways, because I'm having a good time. There we go. Alright, Helican, there we go. Let's see. Helican, you need to get to work on something. We could use more food. We could use more influence, especially because we're going to be wanting to purchase a... We're going to be starting up a city soon. Those usually cost quite a bit. But food is a more immediate problem and more easily fixed problem. Okay, the Dominus is research, so we will be getting to work on him later. Right now, he would be too devastating in terms of costs. Stygian Enlightenment reduces research cost. We're going for that. We'll take that. After that, probably Triplex Necessity or the Doomed Crawler. Or the Dune Crawler, not the Doomed Crawler, though that'd be a very metal name. Okay, I'm about to do something incredibly stupid. Expected casualties. Let's see. The heal range is not good enough to heal that guy. But hey, that's whatever. Let's see. We can do at least some damage to the city with the Scutari, though. Now, we're probably going to see a lot of enemy units get thrown at us in a second, so... Oh, I could have thrown Galvanic Field on this Mechanicus unit, on this Scutari, before I attacked, but The Manipulus actually does a surprising bit of damage itself. Let's see. Yeah, this looks bad. He's got more melee stuff than I expected. There we go. At the very least, I'm putting the Chaos Marines on notice. It's gonna be all slow siege. That's gonna be trouble, but you gotta deal with the hand you're given. Okay, let's see here. We've got all this going on. Let's see here. What building did I want to put in? I've put in food, so I've got food going. I need more influence. Right. Okay, what's a not very good tile that I'd be curious about expanding into for the purposes of influence production? It would be you. No, you. Maybe you. Yeah, you're not so great. Yeah, let's go for you. Ah, no, you're actually worse. Let's go for you. There we go. We will wrap the turn up. Oh no, that one Scutari. However will I go on? Let's see. We can move a few guys up. And move the Mechanicus into a place where he can heal. Ah, this is not such a great space. The enemy does have the ability to shoot at us pretty easily. Let's see. We can use Tech Adept and get these guys back online regardless. We just don't care. Doesn't matter how many of us you take down, we will always hit right back. And we can slowly tear down this city, which can be a very devastating economic hit in the early game, so that's nice. Galvanic Field does consume action. Okay, so I couldn't have chosen that. Okay. Let's see. We've got the Cybernetica Datasmith. We'll push them onto the next area so we can put in a city. And Helican can produce another unit of some kind. We could get to work on the Dominus. We will hold off on the Dominus until we get some influence going, though. Now, how much can I really just keep healing ludicrous amounts of damage from the opponent? That's going to be part of the question, isn't it? Let's see. That guy hasn't actually moved yet. Oh! Well, there he goes. Right, he took the Mark of Slanesh so that he'd get an extra move. Well, that sure didn't work out for him, huh? I'm going to be able to put out some decent damage here. Let's see. Yeah, we're kind of whittling the city down. We've got it down probably about... Yeah, 70 out of 92. That's not bad, considering the situation. There goes a Cultist. That can hurt for the Chaos Marines. Despite how expendable you'd expect that unit to be, it's really not that expendable. Let's see, if we push this Scutari Vanguard up, he could probably just go ahead and contribute more damage. So we will be doing that. The faster we can whittle this city down, the better. Okay, now this guy, we're going to have to, let's see, what's the best place to put the next city? Okay, we got, definitely we can reach, it's definitely within reach. Let's see, here would be a good spot, probably. It will have good, solid access. Well, this would be quicker to access the energy resource, but we'd have to tear apart that wireweed, and I don't want to bother with that. We can get good food returns out of this particular area faster. So, I think we'll settle there next turn. Alright, meanwhile in Helican, let's see, we are ready to start work on our influence industry. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, and we can also... Yeah, I'm not going to be producing any heroes. Yeah, not for a little bit. Not for a little bit. Okay, they've got Devastators, or whatever the name is for the type of Devastator Marine that the Chaos uses. Now, we are a little bit overexposed here. We're more than a little bit overexposed here. At the very least, we might get them to pull out of their city some units that I can kill to be mildly annoying. However, they are dealing a lot of damage to me, so let's see. What's the smartest choice here I can make to pull out? This guy, we can pull the Mechanicus back some. Have this guy come back, and then we can go ahead and throw a big heal on these boys. And with the heal in place, they can then do quite a bit of damage to the Chaos Spawn. That's a lot more than I expected. I've heard Chaos Spawn were bad on tabletop, but this is ridiculous. and still tear down at Blackheart Core a little bit. Very nice. The Manipulus was a very, very worthwhile investment. That's good to see. Now we can go ahead and surround the Dark Fortress here and keep throwing ourselves at it, but let's hold off just for now. Okay, you will be putting a city, right, what's the cost of the city? 40 minerals and 40 influence. Wow, what a bargain. You'll be putting it right here. There we go. Output cam 8. That's an inspired choice. Let's see. We will be wanting to put another artisan constructorum in the city center there in a little bit, but for now, we will focus on expanding into this excellent, excellent, excellent food tile. Then we'll be wrapping the turn up. With that food tile in place, we will be running a very, very big infantry army. We are losing quite a few Skitari, but with our healing capabilities, we can still present a problem to the opponents. And with the amount of radiation we're outputting, we are slowly whittling them down just by being in their vicinity. Now, we can kill one of these guys, can't we? No. Well, we're going to do more damage to this guy then, I suppose. Okay, and this Skitari can still whittle away at the city of Blackheart Core. Now, the city, I'm going to assume, heals quite a bit between turns, as is typical for cities in these kinds of games. But we are still going to be whittling at it. Alright, let's get another Skitari out there. The production in the city of Helican has gone down because of the lack of loyalty. But we will have to work on a loyalty building next turn. Actually, it might be smart to go ahead and spend this turn expanding into a tile for our loyalty. Let's see, what's not a very good tile? You're not a very good tile, so I'm going to expand into you. Ooh, and there goes a unit of Skitari. I think it's probably time for us to pull out here. Yeah, definitely time for us to pull out here. Okay, let's see. We will have you pull back into the forest, you pull back here. You can, at the very least, do some damage to the Chaos Spawn. Let's go ahead and get these heals up on these Skitari. Get them back in action. Ready to hold against whatever the Chaos Space Marines send after me. Alright, output cam 8 and Helican. We are not putting out that many minerals, but that's not the end of the world. Let's go ahead and spend a turn clearing the wireweed off this tile. And the mineral supply we currently have will be invested towards a food building here in output cam 8. That will be that will be a massive food surplus by that point. Let's see, triplex necessity, that's good. Onager Dooncrawler, that's probably also quite good. It's distinctly anti-air focused, but I remember it being pretty good against grounded units as well. Okay, they are pushing in. They do believe that they can go ahead and finish me here, which they might be able to finish off the army. We shall see. Which, yes, that is a lost Skitari. That is unfortunate, but we can still do something of a pullout. A little bit of a fighting retreat, as it were. So let's keep pulling back. There you go. And as pulling back onto this skinny little peninsula, they lose their numbers advantage. Okay, they are willing to just let me hold this point. Okay. We will hold the line here momentarily, until they throw something much bigger and meaner at us, which I'm sure they will. Now, we can spend a bit of influence to increase the output of any given tile, so I'm going to do that. Yeah. There we go. It's probably a good way to spend my money. Let's see, we can go ahead on a Tech Priest Dominus. I'm very curious about these guys. Let's see, 8 influence. That is a big cost, but I'll be able to cover it in a little bit. The big investment has already been made. I've already expanded into the tile where I want to put my influence buildings. The Proto-Servitor Cradle, I'm going to have to wait a turn or two, though, as we do not have the capability to produce it yet. We do not have the money. But next turn, we should go up past 50, and we will be able to get that put in. There we go. There we go. Put that in, and excellent. Alright, now I should probably go ahead and wrap it up. We've gone on for 10 minutes past the time. I noticed that was getting quite a bit long in the tooth for time. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I will see you folks later. I am having a grand time with the Mechanicus, and if memory serves, I had a grand time with them last time, so ideally the ball keeps rolling. These guys might be my favorites. It's difficult to say just yet, but I'm a pretty big fan of the Mechanicus' aesthetic, the way they play. It's pretty cool. Alright, either which way, see y'all later.